The focus of this session is the rebuild of a Baldwin. It has been rebuilt and repainted and redesigned by a third party. This one is number 504, but it is believed to have emerged from one of the vintage Baldwins by A.C. Gilbert. While it cannot be absolutely confirmed, I believe that this emerged from either a 21812 or a 21813. The three-digit numbers, of course, are 812, as you see on this cab, and 813. 812 is the Texas and Pacific. 813, or as it was known in the five-number scheme or five-digit scheme of A.C. Gilbert, 21813, or the Minneapolis-St. Louis red Baldwin that was produced in 1958 and 1960. Here's what gives me an indication from where it came. It's very possible that it could have been the 812 because the type 1 of an 812 had some of the characteristics we see here, and that is the painted frame and the extended step boards, which you can see right here on the 504. It could have also been a type 2 because the type 2 had molded black plastic and the extended step boards. Now, what gives me an indication that there's a possibility that this came from molded black plastic are some chips, paint chips that occur right along this board right here and clearly indicate that the underlying plastic is black versus some of the other traditional colors we may have seen in A.C. Gilbert's diesels. The hints for an 813 is the fact that the 813 had no illumination. Now, from examining the body of this one, it appears that the headlight and the rear light on the back of the cab, these holes were drilled out. Now, it could be that they were empty to begin with. Just because it says it's unilluminated, it doesn't mean that these were plugged up. But the 812 has a plug here, but is open here. And the flashing around these holes on the interior gives me an indication these may have been drilled out by the rebuilder. Because usually holes that A.C. Gilbert created are very smooth and clean because they came out in the molding process. Another indication that it could have emerged from an 813 is it does have the same extended step boards. So although a type 2, by the way, of an 813 had a painted frame, so there's hints that it could have come from either an 812 or an 813. It really doesn't make any difference. It's an excellent work, and we'll move on with it. This train is not owned by today's AF Trains, but I'm going to finish rebuilding it. So far, I've done nothing cosmetically other than to dust the body off and just get rid of household surface dust, including where it might be in the vents and places like that, the vents up here. Did not wash it, don't intend to, and would not recommend it. I can see that these look like water slide decals or something similar because I can see the border around the numbers as well as the border around Western Pacific on the side. This, of course, looks like a water slide decal. So it's very handsome. It was well done. It's just a very, very good paint job in my opinion. I've also just done some light cosmetic work on the side frame structure, and that is just to wash and clean everything, polishing just a little bit to remove a little rust down here near the knuckle coupler. Other than that, it's ready for production use. And you'll notice that on the frame itself, which I have begun work on, you'll see the daily reverse unit. So this one replaced either nothing that was there before, because I understand that some of these did not come with reverse units or came with a manual reverse. They also came with a two-position reverse, which the Texas and Pacific has, or some of the earliest ones, that is the 355, actually came with the four-position reverse unit. So this one has neatly and very well been replaced by the daily. You'll notice it even has the foam padding here to prevent any shorting to the chassis. Part of that system is the installation of these LED lights, one for the front and one for the rear. I began and have completed the rebuild of the rear truck. And all that was to remove the side frames by these 4 screws. Then the axles simply drop out. As you'll see here on the front truck, the bushings for those axles are nothing more than grooves or notches cut out in the motor's frame. And that's the way they are here. You take this off, the side frame assembly, the axles simply fall out. They're easily accessible for cleaning and polishing and even replacement of wheels if necessary. I think that the slide contact is a more advanced construct, or type, than those which we've grown accustomed to on Alcos and GP7s and even EP5s. This one is round, has a smooth edges, it has a spring, and its structure attached to the frame has a top on it that can be removed by simply removing one washer on the top, those pinch washers on the top, and then the whole structure can be pulled out so that the spring can be replaced or serviced. All I did on these was clean this surface and to make sure that it was cleaned thoroughly on the inside with contact cleaner. And then the normal polishing, cleaning and polishing of the wheels, and also lubrication of the bushings or the notches where the axle resides with gear lube, not grease. Now the same is true of the front truck, which is the motor truck, and that is if you remove the side frame, which you see here, the axles are easily accessible. Here they are with the gears, plastic gears. They have also been cleaned and polished. The worm drive axle or shaft has also been cleaned and polished. In other words, it's dual worm drive. And then as much cleaning and polishing could be done on this plastic gear. This is the bushing for the other end of this worm axle. So once the side frame was taken off, all this just fell out, and therefore is very easily cleaned. Now, in conference with the owner, we're going to replace these pull mores. They are, I'd say, on a soft to hard scale, they're probably about an 8. I wouldn't take this train apart to this detail without replacing them. What I'm going to replace them with the owner's consent, is these Portline grooved pull mores, which I've had a lot of good results on my EP5s, my GP7, my Alcos, and other owners' diesels. They've performed admirably. Now they are a different color, that's because they're probably aluminum. But then once I get these off, I'll be able to determine, and I believe they are grooved themselves, but if not, I'll be able to replace them with a standard pull more tire, if that's what you want to call it, the real thin type. But I believe these are grooved, and I've also got the groove replacements, which means these can be rebuilt and then repurposed and then put back into service, maybe on another train.